Hey, welcome to another edition of the Exciting Whites podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Kaylin.
And we're here to talk about white wine and everything else that's on the table. Mm-hmm. How are you today?
I'm pretty great. I've actually been sipping on this wine ahead
you already
of time.
have cracked our feature bottle for the day.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait.
I see that I also have a large goblet poured.
I just decided if we fill it up high, then we don't have to fill it up as much.
You mean as often?
Well, I mean, yeah.
We're talking about
We're going to fill it up as much as often. You're right. Yep. You're correct.
I can tell that you've been into that already. So let's get this right on the road and on the track. And
you know what? You want to know what we're drinking?
Oh, yeah. I was going to be already rushing. Everybody's rushing. Just real quick, want to say hello to our engineer, Kevin. How are you today?
It's sunshine. I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah. We do have a little bit of a sun today, and we have a little tiny window area where you can see it.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, I haven't.
He's heating up.
Oh.
He's on fire.
Little NBA jam. Well, tell us what we're drinking now while I sniff the cork.
Sniff it. Sniff that cork.
It smells smoky and good. What do we got here?
We're drinking a 3-Finger Jack. It's by Goldmine Hills, and it is a Chardonnay.
Oh.
From Lodi, California.
My favorite white.
Vintage 2020. Besides legendary outlaw, 3-Finger Jack, and his notorious reputation, roamed California during the gold rush in search of riches. Inspired by his daring character, these wines boast immense structure and hearty flavors, sure to stand the test of time. Like Jack, our Gold Hill Chardonnay is a bit of an outlaw and can stand proud on its own or alongside spicy grilled fish tacos or fire-roasted chicken thighs. Vintage and bottled by 3-Finger Jack Cellars, Manteca, California. This is 14.5% ABV.
How do you say the town? How do you spell the town that it's made in?
Manteca?
How did you do it?
Manteca. Manteca.
That you think is the right way?
How do you say it?
I don't know.
Manteca? Saying Manteca, California?
Hold on. Why all of a sudden when I ask is that the city or wherever it is, do you immediately adopt like a southern...
Take another drink.
Manteca.
I was just wondering if it maybe had been...
Manteca? I think it's Manteca.
If there was another way of saying it, maybe, or you know how somebody... I heard somebody say a city wrong.
Like Manchego cheese?
Yeah.
Manchego?
It's like jalapeno, you know.
I love jalapenos.
It's like somebody said, I'm trying to remember what city it was.
Trying to order the jalapeno meal deal.
They said the city name like jalapeno, and I was just like, yeah. So sometimes when I hear something that I haven't heard before, like, what was it, Manitec?
Manteca?
Okay.
I don't know. I figure it's California, which used to be Mexico, so anything that is
Spanish, right,
in that area is probably pronounced in that way. Although a lot of Californian places will be named something like... Los Angeles is not pronounced Los Angeles. So, I would be wrong on that.
Even though you would think it was?
Right, because it's Los Angeles. But it's not. It's Los Angeles. And Las Vegas.
When Los Angeles was part of Mexico, it was about 150 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
At this point. Everybody rode around still on horses and used wagons to cross over, and we're using ships by sail still. I think even leading into the beginning of the Civil War, steam was still fairly new. Was being utilized.
Steam was new?
Well, the utilization of steam for propulsion was new, which brings me to kind of what I wanted to jump in with today was right into the idea of why, after thousands of years of human history, in the last 124 years. So I'm not saying that there weren't advances before, but nothing on the scale of the last 124 years. So from 1900 to 2024, the last 124 years, the amount or scale of advancement that human history has made in not just in our ability to travel, but in communications and
Technical
logistics and
advances.
technological advances.
Yeah.
But not just that, societal advances. Look at art and music. I mean, music is an industry now in a way that could have never have been without patronage. I'm just saying, why do you guys think, or why do you think, because I'm not requiring Kevin to answer, actually, if he doesn't want to. I just keep him,
he looks
like
as
to
if
keep him
maybe
neutral
he
and
might
relaxed
have
if
an
he wants to
opinion.
be focusing
I've got
on the
two
engineering.
answers as
Okay.
to why
How,
I think.
why only in the last 124 years can we say, or do we know that such advancements happened, and why in this period and so quickly and rapidly?
Answer one.
Your answer one.
Aliens.
I knew
Answer
it.
two.
Yes, I made my hair tall for this topic
Yes.
today, so I
Answer
could
two.
channel my inner.
I think, I don't know, it
Yeah.
just seems like a lot of the ancient civilizations, they talk about like how art was advanced, and each kind of movement that happened, each kind of awakening or like rebirth or, of civilization just would occur, and art would be, expressed in a different way. And I think part of it is humankind had to get to a certain point to get comfortable enough to be able to like be in their thoughts instead of just be in survival mode. So when you're in survival mode, you don't
thousands of years thinking about survival.
Yeah.
When the great houses, of France and Spain are going to war over golds and riches and stuff, you don't think that there was enough societal relax about survival to be able to think clearly enough to invent?
Okay,
I don't
thinking
know
about
that. What
like
do you think
Galileo
about that?
and stuff, right? Like he was the first person to say that the Earth revolved around the sun instead of the sun revolving around the Earth, and he was called a heretic. And
But you're positing though the idea that the people now, we made these advances because they weren't worried as much about their survival,
right?
And so they were creatively allowed
survival
to flourish.
and control.
But
so at a point when control is willing to be let go, and they realize, okay, I guess if we let people believe that the Earth revolves around the sun instead of everything revolving around the Earth, and the Catholic Church won't lose their power over the people just because of that, then okay, I guess we can let them be articulate, and we can let them be scientific, and we can let them be creative, and it won't take our power away. They'll still give us money. They'll still give us
one
power.
thing, I think you're chicken before the egg.
Every chicken comes before every egg.
In your case, because in order to have that kind of relaxation on continued survival, you need to have the infrastructure in place that we've come to understand today, which only would have been possible through the invention of certain technologies that allow the logistics, that allow rapid farming and shipping. Yeah, but the aliens have really nothing.
Yeah, they come down and they're like, hey, Tesla, look at this. And like, hey, you discovered this thing that used to work thousands of years ago before the Younger Dryas.
What's your second answer?
No, my second answer, the first answer was aliens. The second answer was the fact that people are able to access more thinking and more creativity when they're not immediately concerned about poverty or war or just survival in general. So I think that allows for more creativity, and people are able to discover new things or invent new things, and then boom, technology like picks up. The Industrial Revolution was a crazy time. Like things were happening, like so many inventions happened, like the World's Fair would happen, and inventions were just like booming for like 20
really,
years.
like you're talking
solid
about that,
inventions.
maybe the last 150 years, we'll say, even if we went all the way back and gave part of the 1800s some credit for steam and for the printing press. I think the printing press.
No, the printing press was
earlier,
Gutenberg
right?
in the 1600s.
Okay, so that's a dissemination of information. But so that's an interesting way to look at it. Do we think that possibly that we collectively here, like I'm the Pope, believe that there is a potential for the dissemination of information through leaflets and printing was the first way
to spread propaganda? Indeed.
Of course. Fill in the blanks with your host, Kaylin.
I love this
I'll crack
Chardonnay.
a bottle of wine and let you say something, and then I'll fill.
I will fill every blank.
Color outside the lines. So if there was this information going around, do you think that that's how people got smarter? Because information makes the world seem smaller. And if the world seems smaller, then you are starting to think globally instead of locally. And when you think globally, you create bigger solutions for smaller problems.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
if you consider that, like, with the invention of the printing press, people were easier able to learn to read. People didn't really read before then, except for scholars, priests, and scribes.
But think about this. The printing press is a pretty remarkable invention. We'd all agree with that, right? The steam engine is a pretty remarkable thing, and as was the invention of the electric motor and the harnessing of electrical current for use, and obviously the AC current that we live with now. The point is, though, is all of that stuff, you know, if you want to say the printing press maybe have been like what started it, you think of the timeline as a long wick with maybe 1900 to 2000 being the dynamite. Why is it that you have these small little bursts of technological marvels or advancement in a little bit of time, but only in 1900, in a 100-year period, you don't see as many or as much? I mean, think about 1900 to 2000. You have the modern automobile, right? And these are just a few. You could dig down and go even further. You have the modern automobile. You have transatlantic ocean-going pleasure cruises for weeks at a time. Okay,
and
I'm talking about just the logistics and shipping, right?
And flights.
Right. You have right intercontinental and transcontinental, and then international flights, and then we've gone to space. So that's aeronautics, right? Aeronautics weren't even a thing until this century, right? Or the previous century, right? Communication, wireless technology, the internet, the
even
computer.
Wired technology.
We have all of these different things that have happened in just a 100-year period. The invention of so many other things. The computer, the computer in the way that we see it today, accessible to everyone, in the way that it is, and that happened in 100 years.
I think once something is invented, it's easier to build off of the thing that was already invented and think of what can come next.
But they're not related.
No, they're not. But each thing leads to the next thing. Like if you start with a
I don't think it does. I think that's
buggy,
exactly what I'm saying. If the printing press was dissemination of information and you lit that wick and ended with the steam, and then it picked up and became the steam engine, which picked up and became modern rail, which modern rail solved logistics, which became the car, more affordable travel, which became shipping goods and services like farms, fruits and vegetables and meats. Again, an argument could be made for how the Industrial Revolution began, but it doesn't explain why that allowed so much development and such an increase in our understanding of technology in such a short period.
Because
and we're only going further.
Because
now in the last 24 years, look at 2000 to 2024.
Yeah. Previous to that, I mean, even in the 1800s, there were a lot of people who didn't read because they didn't think that it was.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't think that it was important.
Just social things like even living.
No, but being able to read allows the dissemination of information to spread. You can pass things out without being able to
read it. You can hand somebody.
Sure, but you can pass somebody information and have them pass it to somebody else, and you don't have to have somebody be like reading it out to a crowd of people.
You mean like a town crier?
Yeah, right. You don't need all of that because you can spread these things, and so you don't have to have a person spreading it like word of mouth, able to confuse the details and be spreading falsities across the country. You can literally hand them a piece of paper. That person can read it. Then that person spreads it to the next person, whatever. The dissemination of information, I think, is what really like increased.
The old lady, you hold it this way and it's like no beers. And then you turn her picture upside down and it's like a beauty queen after 6 beers. That, you don't need to you've seen that once. Once you see that image again, you know that there could be a beautiful lady if you turn it upside down, not a witch. And you disseminate that. You don't need to read, but it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Not where I was
thinking,
but
Have you seen that image? I'm going to send it to you so you can go into this episode.
It's like a
you
old...
can turn your phone or your head.
Babushka with a babushka. There's a babushka with a babushka. It's an old lady with a headscarf. Well,
it's not just an old lady.
Nose,
I mean, it's like a big, storybook
hunched
witch.
over, and then you flip it upside down, and it's like a Victorian beautiful woman.
Even if modern logistics were able to account for the rapid development of things around that industry, it doesn't account for things that happen so quickly without logistics being a part of it. Let's just talk about urban planning and development. That stuff happened through accident almost.
I don't know,
but
because
cities happen because jobs happen because industries happened that weren't all related to logistics.
No, but I mean, they've always had, like, for instance, Rome. Everybody's always saying, like, oh, how often do you think about Rome? Apparently,
they were a
the
modern
average
city
man thinks about Rome. They were a modern city.
By
and
Bronze
you can
Age,
see,
standard.
there's, like, thousands and thousands of roads that lead to Rome. Like, literally thousands of roads.
Well, they were conquerors.
But they're all, it's around, and, it's around, focused around the capital, and then there are, alleys and ways and streets and everything. And the way that it was designed was very specific. And I think that
Very
people
Roman?
you were able to take that information because as history goes on, you have access to the information from the past. Whereas in the past, you didn't really have access to all that information, especially if you didn't read, especially if you weren't allowed to read. Like, even in religious texts, people were not allowed to read the Bible. Like, you had to have the priest or whatever disseminate that information to you.
What weird, cult are you talking
I
about?
know. Well, sometimes she
No,
goes
seriously.
so fast too that it goes right through the wine.
Seriously,
and into my ear.
seriously. People, you weren't allowed to have your own copy of anything, and you weren't able to read it
it's
anyway.
Basically, control of information.
You weren't
is
able
the
to read
idea,
it
but-
anyway. Not until the 1600s when Gutenberg started printing off everything,
right.
and the first thing he printed was
Well,
the
that's
Bible.
why a lot of cultures have oral histories.
Sure, but
Yes.
I mean, if you're talking like the question is why did we advance so much in the last 150 years, right?
Right.
Because
priorities
we had
have
so much to
changed.
build off of.
Well,
Priorities have changed. So meaning only the wealthy, or people of means had access to information, right?
Right.
But why? And my belief is if you lived in the 1800s, right? We'll even go back that far.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your main priority?
Survival.
Right, which is growing your own food,
Yeah.
hunting,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Right.
If you're not in a city.
Right. What we call just the basic human,
Right.
shelter, food.
Now, today, it's pretty rare that you find someone who can't read.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's also pretty rare you find someone who knows how to grow their own food.
Right.
That's a good point. What
So
skills
the
do we
knowledge
want?
base has just changed. I don't have to grow my own food anymore, so now I have time to learn other things.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to say theatrically, Walking Dead shows us that humans probably would find a way to continue.
Right.
Yeah,
But
but
that's
I
what I was
mean-
saying at the beginning is that because we have time to focus on other things, like intellectual things, because we're not focusing on survival, meaning war or food or shelter, then we have time to think about other things and making the life that we already have more convenient.
One thing, though, and I don't disagree with that. I would say that probably would account for things after, say, the turn of the World War. Because I still think survival for many people coming out of the Great Depression was real. And that returned, I think,
But not
modern
for
American
everyone.
society kind of back a couple of decades as far as their trust of modern finances and trust in the system, to sustain them if something were to happen. And that's obviously where the FDIC came in. But all I'm saying is I agree that the idea that you don't have to worry about going out and slaying a mastodon to cook its slabs of meat over a giant roaring fire to survive.
It's not even that.
It
It's
is
frontier
fine.
people in the 1800s.
Whatever
and,
survival is, it's minutia is irrelevant. The details of what you're saying I understand. What I'm trying to get at, though, is there's a part of that certainly allows a Renaissance period that we're in to occur where people explore things that they wouldn't without having to worry about those concerns. But what I'm talking about is how and why so many things rapidly change so fast. Okay? And I said it earlier, but think about it again. Whole lives have been born since 2000 to 2024, right? 24 years. A 24-year-old has never known a TV with two dials, a UHF or a VHF. They've never known black and white television. They probably never even heard the TV called television. You're talking about a world where a person kind of has just always had technology around. And it's been that way now since I would say about 2000 on. And if you think about going back to the year 2000 and how we were living, and you would think going back to the year 2000 and what we had and how awesome we thought it was versus what we have today and what we could live with, Like, we would feel like we were living in the Stone Age, and that's just 24 years ago. And I'm talking about the rapid change in human development in just a short period of time that goes beyond just
I'd have
riding
to
on
go
a train
to
or
so
flying
many places to do the things that I do over here.
that's
Like
what
I
I
couldn't
mean.
just like go on
Right.
online banking. I mean,
or you just order mangoes from another part of the world, or a stone or something, or you can vividly, open your phone in 4K resolution and take a tour of a exotic place in detail. And honestly, I've been to some of the places I've seen these tours of, and it looks every bit as good as it does when I'm standing right there. Like there's ones from Formula One tracks I've been to, and it shows them, and it's like I almost don't even need to bother with the crowds and all that. I don't even go anymore. It looks so good. But
well, that's where a lot of people are at right now, which is why they're talking about like the concerns about the metaverse and stuff, that people are just going to put on their headsets and just like go and experience these things without
like a
having
Ready
to
Player
leave their
One or
home.
like any other
because
Matrix
why not?
style.
Like why venture out and do all this extra work when you could just sit in the comfort of your own home and experience almost exactly what it is from your sofa.
I mean, because there's danger in travel.
But I
still.
wonder if that correlation of growth has anything to do with population too, because that would be the other thing. That's
Well, we are
different.
densely multiplying at a huge rate where we were.
But we're not any so in the last 150 years, right? Obviously, the world population has gone way up.
Way up.
People live longer. Life expectancy has gone way up.
That's what I mean.
But
Look at how
our
many changes.
birth rates today
We
are
didn't even
low.
talk about medical advancements. Jeez, we left that whole
Right.
big one
That's
off
what I'm
the
saying.
table.
If you live longer, right? I assume like I'm way smarter now at almost 40 than I assume I was at 20.
You're way more wise.
Way more wise. Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Smarter.
I'm
Tell you
smarter.
what. Tell you what. Smarter.
Wisdom.
But anyways, I'm more wise.
Yeah.
Assume at 60 I would be more wise than I am today.
Right. I haven't seen you
20
sleep
years.
under a Christmas tree in at least a good 10 years.
Well, old friend Jaeger had something to do with that. but the birthing rates now are lower
Right.
than they've been in a long time.
Is that because people are wiser?
No, it's because people
Have casual sex.
that and
But what
I
does
think
that have
there's
to do with
less
the birthing
religious.
rate?
Well, if there's less religious implications on your dating life, it doesn't impact you. Back in the day, people would have sex only if they were getting married. So now people can express themselves with multiple different partners without fearing, if they believe, the repercussions of an overreaching God.
But wasn't the scare tactic to like not have sexual relations with other people because you might get pregnant, and then people did, and
the
then you
idea
had
is
to
errant
raise
children,
this-
and that's
yeah.
still a thing. I mean, you have kids being born all the time
But the
that
other
aren't
thing,
wanted,
too,
but that's
is,
a
like-
sad part of our world. But
how many people do you know that are in their 30s
right,
who, for lack of a better term, don't have their crap together yet?
every one of
Mm.
them. I'm just kidding.
Like don't still live off somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Function off somebody else.
I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people.
Quite a few.
But okay, so this is taking a different turn, but it's not awkward. I wasn't going to say awkward. I was going to say it's taking a different turn, but it speaks to, I think, the social changes that I was talking about between just the last 24 years. In 2000, I was basically just on the edge of not being a child anymore and just becoming an adult. And I was just starting my career. I knew that I wanted a career, though. I didn't have it all figured out, but I knew what I was going to do something.
You should.
Well, that's my point.
At least at that time, that's what we thought.
I don't know many 20-year-olds, I guess, or 18-year-olds to quiz on this subject, but I get the sense from other people that I talk to that do know a lot of, or around young people, like in their late teens and early 20s, is that there isn't a direction or a feeling of needing to have adult time now. Like, I'm gotta figure this shit out or I'm gonna live on the streets. Like that's what the way that I understood it was, I'm not a child anymore once I hit the big 1-8, and mom and dad are gonna give me a little bit of time and maybe let me take my bed, but that's basically it. Like, and you gotta figure it out or whatever. And I mean, some people hit the ground running with a full college degree that maybe someone in their family helped them pay for, or they had scholarships or something, and they get it figured out. I'm not saying that there aren't achievers still amongst the base of all ages. Maybe this is just a thing that's always been this way, because I guess I had a riff-raffy start, I mean, I didn't really I never went to college. I'll divulge that. I mean, I do not have a college degree. And yet I've lived the life of a person who's been to a major university with a degree. As far as career-wise, for me, I had sort of a blessed career as far as my time out there.
And I went to college and then struggled after. So there are
well, that's the whole point. But the idea now, though, that maybe there's no directional push because our society it believes of itself to be utopic enough that there is enough support around and enough wealth around and enough food around and enough housing around that really what's being unspoken is we should just let everybody do whatever they want, because the people that are going to feel the need to not just do whatever they want and be part of the infrastructure will. And the people who don't need that kind of order and want to paint pictures, all day or whatever, won't be, and that's like that sort of, I'm not saying communistic or socialistic view of it, but the idea that people are doing the thing that they are good at. And the argument has always been, well, nobody's going to want to be a janitor because a janitor is somebody who took that job because there was no other job for them. But I think that's kind of BS. Like there's some, I have kids and I have kids in school, and I've met the what I guess, for lack of a better term, janitor from those schools. I mean, these are well-spoken college
custodian
degree. Yeah, I mean, they're not just like people cleaning up puke on aisle 2. Like these guys are, he was talking about disinfectants and all the different stuff he's got to do, and they go through rigorous training on MSDS, almost like a factory does. And it's just like, this guy could be probably making 6 figures anywhere else, but he loves being around kids and he loves the school, and he loves helping out. And the other bad part about our world is that we hear someone, like a man, say something like that, and you automatically think, well, he loves being around kids, so he must be, special, or we got to keep an eye on him, but
not
it's
always.
just, I'm just saying, we've advanced, but are we advanced in the way, or have we taken a step back? Like you said, Neg, yes, most people are fluent readers at least, but they couldn't grow a crop. This one can't keep a cactus alive.
No. I can now.
I can now.
Yeah, I did
you
some
can
reading.
Too, and so can I.
I did some
Cactus
reading.
edition.
I bought some specific cactus and succulent soil, and I transplanted them. And then I got on Temu these lights for growing seedlings and whatever, but I started using them on my regular plants, and now they're doing so well. And because I was putting them by the windows, but it was just so
Plant
dismal.
Update with Kaylin.
It was so dismal. The weather is just blah, and there was no sun, and so
theory?
my plants were dying from no sun. And now they're doing so well.
The plant discussion will go a long time.
No, it's over now. It's over now.
You got to put a roadblock in front of it, because then she'll be like.
But they're not dying anymore. That's it.
You were gonna say a lot more though.
No, I wasn't. That's it.
You gotta put a period in there somewhere.
I did.
Because I want to give you this conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
You were raised religious.
Yes.
As was I. There talks about in the book of Revelation.
I don't like
a time.
Spooky time.
Of man of great revealing. Mm-hmm. And as this is again, I'm just kind of just accurately or inaccurately kind of trying to digest down Cliff Notes what it says. Mm-hmm. But what it basically says is there's a time near the end where man will have a great awakening and a revealing of understanding and technology as we get closer to the end of this world, mm-hmm. as the Bible calls it. Mm-hmm. And as this Armageddon is coming and the great battle and the end of this whole thing, man will have these 7 years sort of understanding and mass utopic living. And that's when this Antichrist figure comes in. I'm not digging into all that, but mm-hmm. the point of this particular tale is that they are saying that near the end of time, in a short period of time, it gives in a Hebrew a translation of about 500 years time. And within that time, something happens wherein it triggers this event.
I'm sorry, what? Is it 7 years or 500 years? And what event?
Well, they are saying 7 years, but they're saying that the biblical 7 years in the understanding of a time of not human time. So biblically it says that a day unto God could be a lifetime unto man. So if you extrapolate what the average lifetime was from Genesis, these people were living 1,000 years. Because it was populate the earth. Allegedly. This is what the Bible says. Point being, if you're talking about where they explain that verse that a day unto the God is 1,000 years unto men, then what we're talking about is 7,000 years
of utopia.
But what more modern interpretations are because of lifespans, then this is repeated in the New Testament, then they say more closer to 500 years. So what is utopia? Would that be what we're in now? I would say that many people probably think this is not the utopia of even 7 years or 500 years. But are we cruising towards an era where this grave, whatever this is that it says is at the end, that basically causes the end of it, causes the Antichrist to reveal himself? Some ancient astronaut Christian theorists believe that it is something to do with us replicating or cloning life and creating life without the supervision of our parents. There's not. It's in a lab. It's not being done through normal sexual human on human or animal on animal contact. It is a created life straight from the box. You know what I mean? Grown cells, grown organic material, put in a petri dish and make a person. And that puts us now.
Is that apart from like IVF? Like you would just grow them 100% like
no,
Rick and Morty?
like
you have just like a clone tank?
Right now what we can do is we can take like an egg from a woman and fertilize it with a replicant sperm. But that's not human
with a
cloning.
replicant sperm?
Well, not replicant like in the Blade Runner style. They can reproduce the sperm from the DNA. They can synthesize.
They can clone the sperm.
Basically, yes. And then they inseminate the egg, but it's still the egg part that is the mystery. And then they can keep that egg alive, but they can't bring it to term. They still need a host. And so that's the part that they haven't been able to figure out, as I understand it from everything I've read, which is that the idea to get the correct amount of blood flow and the cell to connect and do its job in the way it should. Anyway, imagine that we can create life from scratch, and then doing what humans do, we experiment with that. So we make better versions of ourselves. Could this be whatever is involved with potentially creating us in the first place, if we were created and you don't believe that we were just accidents that fell out of the ocean or the sky? I'm not saying that the religious view is in any way right, but it is interesting that it talks about these events taking place that allow these cataclysmic events to kick off. Like there needs to be some type of line we cross. And it's interesting because previous to this, they talked about this time before, the flood times, where men were given different tongues and sent around, the fall of the tower, right? And a whole deconstruction of human civilization as we know it, and the spreading of peoples all over the world. Could it be that we have already once around done that? Once around we've gotten close, or once around we were smart enough to have cloned life.
Or twice around, or 3 times
Well, that's
around.
the whole point. If you start thinking of it in this way,
well,
could it be that every one of these go-rounds, they go...
Okay, done.
Reset. And I don't know what the end game is. A lot of people have said, "Oh, maybe we're not the main." Yeah, I hate this one that people start doing now. And you do it too. Talking about that people think that they're the main character when they're not the main character. I hate this topic of people being just NPCs, meaning that like somehow there's somebody whose agenda or popularity or beauty or fortune allows them to be more of a higher status character, and as such they are the main character in the story, and you of course are just an NPC that stands in the audience.
It's their world, we're just lucky to be a part of it.
I mean, certainly in a celebrity I can understand it, that view of it, but certainly, as any
Which
celebrity will tell you,
explains why they
it's
have more
fleeting.
money, because you have to buy into it. You know, if you buy a character, you like upgrade your skin, or you know, you like upgrade your.
Oh, crap. You know what happened just now, right? Sims.
I love The Sims.
I don't love The Sims.
I love The
You know what? I had
Sims.
no
There's so
feeling about
many
The Sims before I met
possibilities.
her, but now, like, we sometimes I've sat and listened to like 50, 60 minutes of Sims.
That's
and
not true. I don't talk that long about it.
I played the first one when it came out
SimCity.
in the 90s. No, like
No,
the first.
Sims.
I played SimCity, but I'm saying like the first Sims game.
I think the first Sims game was like in the 2000s.
It was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah,
I had all of them.
Oh,
I've been playing all of them since their inception.
but
this is a very
I played the
delicious
first one
show.
because it was a novelty at that time.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. I don't.
You don't. Right. You said that
What do you
before,
mean
that
you
you
don't
don't
play
play
as a game?
I don't
games
play
that don't
have
end.
a purpose or an ending. Or
But they do end if
We
you
kinda
play
talked
it.
about this before,
If
I
you
think,
play
on another
it, if you
episode.
play it honestly, you don't use any cheats. You don't. You just
You mean
try
like you
your
do?
best. I use every cheat. I'm too impatient. Actually, I don't. I don't use every cheat. I'll usually stick to just the money cheats.
Dirty. She plays Dirty Sims.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
don't
like
mind
I'll
some
do
simulation games though. Like I don't mind City Builders or
or like
Age of
Roller
Empires is
Coaster
kind of a
Tycoon.
simulation.
Like a house full of just Enrique Iglesias and just
Yeah.
her character lives in it with her.
No,
Like,
that's not true. I did
I'm
have
just
a
saying.
whole house of Johnny Depp
See what I'm-
characters.
okay,
Like
alright.
each
You
movie,
know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Like each was styled for each different movie. Like I had an Edward Scissorhands, and I had like a Crybaby, and
If
I had
you-
like
if you-
a
Back on
Pirates
that
of the
topic, though,
Caribbean.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because like you were talking about basically the cycle of it, and I think that's why the Matrix movies were so cool because they kind
with
of
the idea
Yeah.
that this has happened
a
before.
lot of the themes were biblical and
Right,
like,
yeah.
but they like Neo wasn't the first one.
But in our life,
Yeah.
Mike, we think that this stuff sounds ridiculous, and now it's the new word to bandy about is whenever you think, you know, sort of any type of philosophical way about life,
It's a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's such a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories because they don't have facts, which means they don't have evidence, which means they can't be proven. And that, I think that sort of painting with that brush that everything's a conspiracy theory because it can't immediately be proven is such bullshit, because so many
Yeah.
things that were labeled as conspiracy theories over even just the last few years have come out to not
the
be true.
difference between a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy is like 6 months.
That's a good joke. What you specifically told me that when you were done with this, when we were done talking about the end of the Young Adrias era and the beginning of our fatty human history as it is today,
Yeah.
because it's poorly kept. I believe our human history's been kept from us, and I
I
believe
just
it still
am
is.
really sad about the loss of the Library of Alexandria.
You said that you wanted to tell a story. Real quick before you tell that story.
Can we talk about this wine?
I
want to
this has been, I think, one of my favorite
This is
bottles
my favorite wine so far.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite wine so far?
My favorite wine so far, and I don't love a Chardonnay. I think I talked about that the last time that we had a Chardonnay.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
is
love a
true.
Chardonnay. This is smoky. It tastes like it. I do want to. You know, it said on the bottle like you would enjoy this with a delicious, spicy grilled fish taco.
taco.
Now I just really want a spicy grilled
Yeah,
fish
I
taco.
feel like I would
think
love
this
that
would
too.
really be great an accompaniment, and I do love the color of it too.
Yeah.
It's I guess I'm used to a clearer, like lighter color, and this is a little bit more smoky yellow. It feels dark. It's almost got it's not a sweetness, but it's like an after flavor, or the after taste
Yeah, Manteca,
of it.
California.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Vinted and bottled by Three Finger Jack. I when you said it, it sounds to me like somebody that would produce a bourbon.
Yeah.
Or something,
Yeah.
or like one of the
Well, it
one-offs.
looks like a bourbon bottle.
And in
Yeah,
the city we live in,
the
you know, we're
bottle's
famous for
interesting
breweries,
too.
and
I mean,
so.
you can fly in an image of the bottle, but the bottle is
Would
interesting.
you like to try some? Well, there's a new part of the show here. Let me hand that to me so that I can have
Kevin's
it.
not that
Kevin
much
is
of a
not
wine
usually-
drinker.
He likes a wine, but only white, which he's on the right show for.
Yeah.
And so he's got this little glass this is from Witch Hat Brewing, and Witch Hat Brewing is in South Lyon, Michigan. If you haven't been there, it's pretty good. I've been there before. Anyway, Kevin's gonna when he thinks something sounds good to him, he's gonna interject, and we're gonna give him this little guy to try. So there you go.
Cute. It's so wee.
There you go, friend and engineer. The Three Finger Jack Chardonnay.
It smells good.
Yeah.
It is.
It is a
And
nice aroma.
and to the taste, it says Gold Mine Hills Chardonnay. So there may be something to that color.
That's tasty.
It's
From a non-wine lover.
It kind of tastes
tasty.
licorice. Like
and this
not
is
licorice,
not to detract
but liquor.
from the other wines we've had. We've had different diet wines and stuff. I'm not sure you're going to pass a diet wine around maybe, but this particular flavor is robust enough that I think we feel like it is worth mentioning mid-show.
And I can see it would probably be good with fish. I could see that.
Yeah, this would be fantastic. We'll put this.
It did suggest. Would you drink this with a delicious grilled chicken thigh as well? I know you wouldn't, because you wouldn't eat a chicken thigh.
You don't eat a chicken thigh.
I would. I like a chicken thigh. So
yeah, I know you do. He doesn't.
Delicious chicken breast.
I don't.
But as someone who doesn't normally drink wine, I would drink this. That's to me it's a glowing rating.
It's nice.
The character of it is not aggravating, but it stays in the mouth after you drink it. It isn't cloying, which I tend to use a lot about.
You do.
Well, it's just a way that describes like a cheap wine's sort of metallic flavor that hangs around the aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Can be like you've eaten food after, and that still is there. That metallic sort of cheap taste.
Where is
to
this
it.
one on like the scale of price?
This one,
Right, would have to be
see, that's the thing. Like I
Kaylin's
think
gonna
I
be the
got it
expert
on
on that
sale, so I think I paid like $25 for it.
This is a great $25 bottle of wine. I imagine this probably is around a retail.
I think it was around 30 or 35.
Probably at a
and I
restaurant,
can't
this would be
remember.
about $50 a bottle. My guess would be that'd be about what
Minimally,
we pay for it.
because we've been to places that charge like $120 for a bottle of wine, and we find it at like the supermarket for $20 or $30.
We were at a Ruth Chris recently on a trip,
Yes.
which leads into where you were going to go.
Yes.
And we noticed that the wines were other ones that we had tasted or had elsewhere, and she had looked them up, and so we're just curious about wine markup, and it was, some were $14 bottles selling for $40 and $50. It's interesting how that goes.
Or $20 bottles selling for $70.
But
and
wine tastes better in a restaurant with a white
linen
tablecloth and a
tablecloth.
napkin and maybe
But
a Pellegrino water next to it to
It's
refresh
not the
yourself.
place. It's not the place to familiarize yourself with wines or like to.
Not if you're doing it on a budget.
No,
because you can't drink by the glass in most places.
Right, they're going to make you buy the whole bottle, and the whole bottle will be $75. Whereas you could go to the supermarket and I think a restaurant is a good place to go through and look at their wine list, snap a photo, and then be like, these seem like they would be delicious. Go to your supermarket and pick them up at much more affordable prices.
If you're looking for a way to be a de facto like wine aficionado just on paper without really knowing anything, such as us, we just like the taste of stuff. We probably don't even use the right terms.
We probably don't. I was looking up things just to be a little bit more smart about it, but I don't retain all that information. So I'm just here being like, it's not as dry as I thought it would be.
What gives us any type of weight or credence is our ridiculous personalities and belief that we do. And also, we glue ourselves together in many restaurants and places. We go to charcuterie places. We go to wine bars. We go to jazz places.
And that's how we found ourselves at this Ruth's Chris, which takes us into our next topic. So,
it does.
Yes, we had a delicious dinner at a Ruth's Chris when we were in Atlantic City.
The braces make you say that the cutest way is the Ruth's Chris.
Because if I say Ruth's Chris, I can get my tongue caught on my...
You can't say Ruth. Ruth's. Because apostrophe S. Ruth's.
Hold on,
Chris.
one second. Ruth's. It is difficult. Hold on. Ruth's Chris.
The irony, real quick, before you go on with the stories, I just want to point out that we have a Ruth's Chris in our town.
We do.
That we've
never been to.
And we've never been there. And yet we have eaten at Ruth's Chris only outside of our town.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been to it in others. In this particular
I've
one.
only been to the one in our town.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Twice.
How was your experience? Pretty good?
It was nice.
Yeah.
It was actually an early date with my wife.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fancy, nice.
We went in Atlantic City. Go.
We did. So we were in Atlantic City because we were doing like a mini tour on the East Coast, playing musical instruments and such.
We were selling flat irons in the mall.
That's it.
Selling
So
your wares.
yeah, got to sell weave and flat irons. And so we had a week off ish. We had a few days off. We were in Atlantic City and we decided to go out for dinner. It was a very busy night. And so we didn't get in until about 9 p.m. There was another couple there. Lobby was just majorly busy.
Like,
and we got there at the same time. We both had reservations
they told us
at the
this
same
place
time.
does 200 to 250 on a Saturday night when it's busy.
Yeah.
And they had it over 650.
Over 650 for this
So that just
particular
shows you
day.
kinda
It
how
was a
much
very busy,
chaotic.
it was a holiday.
We enjoyed ourselves.
We did. It was great. So we waited. We ended up having to wait, I think, 40 minutes.
Well, we got a bottle of wine at the bar.
We did. We got a whole bottle of wine at the bar. We were very much enjoying ourselves. And we had to wait like 40 minutes for our reservation time, which was at 9. So we didn't get seated until about 9:40, 9:45. Another couple had walked in around the same time as us, and they asked us, like, what time was your reservation? Same time as theirs. So we both got seated within a few minutes of each other, whatever. People were kind of starting to leave towards that time. It was almost 10 p.m., and not a lot of people were dining at that time. We were enjoying our appetizers, whatever, but it was taking a while for the food to come out. So we started having conversation with the same couple who were seated right at the table
Right
next to us.
Yep.
And so, just going back and forth, hee hee, haha, joking around, whatever. And the girl at that table, the woman at that table, suggests that we do shots.
She doesn't suggest.
She
says,
and I, we're going to do shots.
We're
Let's
gonna do
do shots. And I was like, whoa. And she's like, you, me, girlfriend. And I was like, all right.
In a Ruth Chris.
In a Ruth Chris. And I
right.
think, so we've been to places that are a little bit more upscale than a Ruth's Chris, and we've been to plenty of places that are much less upscale than a Ruth's Chris.
Yeah.
So I felt uncomfortable
Doing shots in a
doing
Ruth Chris.
shots at the Ruth's Chris.
I know exactly what this question is. When is it uncomfortable?
When is
or
it
where is
appropriate or inappropriate to do shots? Like, is there? Why did I feel uncomfortable doing shots in the middle of the Ruth's Chris?
Did the restaurant have shot glasses?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't. One part about the story that's interesting is that the girl was with a man. She only ordered shots for the two of them.
For us too, yeah.
And so I felt a little
I don't
left
remember
out.
what I drank it out of because honestly, we'd been drinking a bottle of wine.
It came across to probably outsiders like these two knew each other from a long time ago and were catching up with a shot.
Yeah, like we
in the
got
middle of
together,
their
took a
dinners that they'd waited
picture,
an hour and a half.
like hee hee hee, like BFFs and like.
We're not,
hee hee.
we're not.
I can't remember if we drank it out of a
Unapproachable.
rocks glass or if it was an actual shot glass, but I feel like we just drank it out of a rocks glass.
The problem too, to add one caveat to the story that is a wrench in the works of what is normal or apropos for most people. And the reason I say this is that we
are not most people.
We aren't most people. If we're at a table, and by the way, if you see us in public, please come talk to us because this is what we do.
Because we're just going to be like, sweet, let's hang out.
It'll be just like this show. If you do
Yeah.
like this show and you happen to see us out and about at a restaurant, please chat us up because that's. So the point is that
We enjoy
we
people.
do talk to people, and if someone's looking at us and we make eye contact and they speak to us, then we end up in a conversation. And so
Yeah, or sometimes we just end up
but
hanging out with
it
them
doesn't
for the rest of the
matter,
night.
I guess the class of the restaurant. This has happened at 5 stars. This has happened at 3 stars. This has happened at taco joints. It's just our fault that shots were bought because I think we're just part of that social feeling of like,
I make eye contact with everyone.
But
I
maybe
do
we
not
make
avert my gaze.
Maybe we make people who may otherwise feel unrelaxed in a certain place relaxed enough to do something like that.
Maybe,
but here, or maybe we don't, and we make them feel uncomfortable, and so the
And
only
that's
way
why
they
they
know how
need
to
a
break.
shot.
Yeah, it's
It could
But
be
there-
different than that though, because not to talk about your last show, but your guys' last show that was in our hometown, I went to with my wife. We were bought a shot by someone we don't know, and our backs were turned to them. And I'm not a social butterfly. It's not my cup of tea. My wife's a little bit.
you were feeling good that night, though.
But I was feeling good. Yeah, I was there.
I
was
just want to
there.
clear. Someone bought you a shot that was from behind you.
Yeah,
Like
we
they-
did not know them.
They just said, "Here
Did
you
you
guys
talk
go."
to them after?
My wife did.
Okay.
I felt like sitting was the most appropriate thing for me at that moment.
To be honest, my only memory of you was always standing. I don't remember you at the
end of the night. This is after.
After
your
the show.
You guys were tearing down.
Okay.
And two gentlemen came to the bar after your show. They weren't even there for the show.
Of course not.
We were sitting in a booth area. And it was some sort of lemon drop type shot, and it was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens if people come in and they're in a good mood, and they'll just spread their love around the bar a little bit.
Right.
But I think if the establishment has the ability to create a shot in like appropriate glassware, then shots are appropriate.
See, and that's what I don't remember.
You've watched The Bear or no? The show The
yes,
Bear?
Chef.
Okay. So yes, chef. Thank you,
Yes,
chef.
chef. Thank you, chef.
The point is, you remember the restaurant that the bastard guy that I hate the character, but I'm starting to like him better. The guy who always is the contrarian, who knew his brother the best, who'd always been working there.
Cousin?
Yeah, cousin.
All right.
You know what? He's interning at the other restaurant, and he sees how they run things, and like someone comes in, and they want to try the pizza from the area, and they run out and get a pizza, and the chef does
make it fancy,
run up on this pizza. I think this particular Ruth's Chris we were at in Atlantic City, as I understood it from our server, was one of the flagship stores that had been created by the owners that started the franchise.
It was great.
And the food was fantastic. I mean, we had been to others, and by comparison,
the service was great too.
It was, and
our
and that's the
server
problem.
was very.
You're talking about a restaurant at capacity, beyond their capacity. They're stretched to staff beyond capacity, and they still put on a great meal, and our food was fantastic, and everything was great. But to what you're saying, I kind of think of it like the Bear. It doesn't matter. Ruth's Chris is not going to put on there and $5 shots for Valentine's Day.
Right.
But is Ruth's, if you're like,
but
we
if you
want to order
one,
shots, Ruth's Chris is going to go to the bar.
And
they're going to
the
create
too.
something delicious and charge these guys $20 a shot.
I think if you're serving liquor, you
well,
should
and that's the thing too. So the girl was like, "Let's get shots. We're gonna get shots." And then she's like, "I don't know what to get. And what do you want to get?" And I was just like, "Well, if I get to name it, I'm gonna be."
This is a bar. It's just a bar. Even
liquor.
if we were standing in the bar at Ruth's Chris, I think it would have been more appropriate, and we wouldn't have been as shocked. I think at the table in a restaurant.
It was at the table in the dining area with a bunch of
unless you're celebrating, maybe
older people, I guess. Which to me, I'm not ageist, but like
but
you
across
just don't.
the restaurant, right?
But people are sitting there and like having quiet dinner time, whatever, and trying to enjoy themselves, and we're like ha 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 ha, like back and forth. And I mean, the table wasn't right next to us. There was a pretty decent.
I mean, it was
aisle,
it wasn't
we're like
kind
of calling over and like hee hee, whatever.
It was close enough that we could talk to them without raising
our
voice.
It was late enough
in a loud place.
It was late enough too, where I didn't think we were really disturbing anyone.
But the point is,
but I ordered a Dirty Girl Scout, which was delicious and it wasn't too, extreme or like too strong.
That's impressive though, because that means they had creme de menthe and they had like the stuff to make.
And it was good.
That's a good stock bar.
It was a full bar.
The bar was fantastic.
So
we sat there before,
and that's why I was like, okay, well, if I can order this, then it's probably not super inappropriate if they can come out within like 5 minutes and having made them and they were good.
And they knew what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other testament.
My new secret thing is I love wine. I have wine everywhere I go, but I try to have the old fashioned everywhere I see a bar where I think
where they advertise it, yeah.
Or if they advertise it, like if they can make it well, and I think this place has a look of they might have a good old fashioned. I'll order the old fashioned, and of course I'll try some wine. But I didn't that night, and I regret not doing. I think it was because of how long. Our server did a great job, but there was no way you couldn't notice the fact that they were under the gun because we didn't see it for swaths of time. But all that aside, I think it's appropriate to order shots when you are in a position to do it in a way that is okay. So I think the reason that we felt uncomfortable or that you felt uncomfortable about it was the way that the person across the other way kind of did it. They were talking louder than we were because I think they might have been drinking before we got there.
Oh, most definitely.
So like our talked responses, their responses back were more loud. And so then it's getting the attention of the people next to us.
Well,
so
and
it's
we
drawing
didn't. We had to drink them together, and we're at different tables. So of course
But I
we
mean,
get
even leading up
together
to the
and drink
shots,
them in
though.
the middle of the restaurant, standing and
Right.
like
Well,
you know,
but not
like,
even just that. Leading up to it, you felt uncomfortable a little
I
bit
did- well,
because it started to build in volume.
Yes.
And I think when other tables are disturbed, that's when we get disturbed because like we're okay with our nonsense. Like sometimes I'll say something and you'll laugh out loud, super loud, and everyone will look at us. But it's instant and it's over.
I'm like, ha ha. And
it's on the show. It's been on the show.
It's uncontrollable. I cannot control the volume when it
But
is a thing that I am literally like
that's
laughing
instantaneous
at.
and it's
just a
over
reaction.
versus a loud conversation between two tables while other people are having dinner and they're paying a couple $100 for it.
Yeah.
That's, I think we feel that awkward about doing shots in that because we're having a barroom experience,
Yes.
which is loud and gregarious
Yes.
in the middle of a dining setting. I think that's inappropriate.
I think it is. I think it is too. I think it was
we agree it's inappropriate, but I don't think that we turned. But we felt it was inappropriate, but we're not snobby enough to go.
That's
Excuse me.
inappropriate,
What I'm sorry. We can't do shots in here. There's fabric down. The napkins on paper.
I've never been to Atlantic City, but I my mind says that should be like a party town, though.
Pretty
right?
party town. But
it's a party town, but it's in the middle of February, and
so, I mean,
It's Vegas, baby.
good point. That town is not Vegas, baby. It runs on a
No.
skeleton crew in the winter. It is very much. See, what people don't realize what Vegas is. It's pretty much nice all the time, like to some degree, compared to what it's like at Atlantic
I mean,
City
I've
during the
been
winter.
there. I've been there
Not
in the
like Atlantic
summertime.
City in the winter.
Not like Atlantic
No.
City in the winter, but it was pretty dead.
I've been there in the winter,
It was
and it was
pretty
70
dead
degrees.
in December, and it was 40 degrees.
Sure, but that doesn't mean that's how it always
Very
is. 'Cause it's
cold,
not.
and like we got into play everywhere we wanted to go
That's
without
your
waiting in
experience.
lines.
How
and
many
stuff.
times have you been
But it was more people,
Right.
totally more
Yeah,
people
because
than
everybody
Atlantic City.
doubles down on going there. For us, it wasn't more people in Atlantic City. It was actually less. And that's what I mean. Skeleton crew. There was less people in Atlantic City than would normally be
Yes.
if it was
being
warm.
weird doing shots at a Ruth Chris, because my experience, at least Ruth Chris in like this town,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's more of a quiet.
Well, it's in
And
an
dining
expensive
experience.
hotel here
And
in our
normally,
town. You know, it's
yes, I
not-
think it would have been quieter, but because it was absolutely
it was
full.
Valentine's
But
Day.
honestly,
it
those
was
were
Valentine's
people.
Day. We're
That
just going to
sounds
say
great.
it was Valentine's Day,
It was full.
and we knew that this Ruth Chris would probably be good.
But we probably didn't do shots until like 11 p.m., honestly. And
Well, we
they
didn't
were
get
open,
sat
I think,
10
until...
p.m., so it was probably. I mean, we were eating.
they were
dinner.
open until 1.
It was after we had eaten. We'd eaten already. Our food was on the table.
No.
And I was eating.
We were waiting for our food.
I was eating my meal while we were talking to them, and then she offered the shots. And I clearly remember thinking, I wish I didn't have to be in this
Specifically remember.
conversation while I'm eating my dinner.
Well,
because I
cheers
felt
to
like
that
I
couple.
had to
Yeah.
give them reciprocity in the conversation, and I couldn't just enjoy my meal. I was being the most old man. I was just like, please piss
Please,
off.
stop.
I just want to eat Ebenezer, just in
Right,
front
and
of
it
the
wasn't like
fireplace.
they offered shots for all of us.
No.
We kind of felt like the guy really didn't want to be in the
very
conversation.
quiet.
Like he enjoyed the initial hee hee ha ha with us, but then she was just
She took it extra.
dragging it on, and like we ended
Nice
up
girl.
exchanging
It just-
information, which was cool. But then they never.
We were going to hang out.
Yeah, but then they wanted to go to the casino or whatever, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll hit you up after,"
I
and
would
then they
say
never did.
anywhere, if you're in a setting where it's appropriate to have shots, I think you know it. And I think when it's inappropriate, but
Then
it might
you know it, and I felt like that was inappropriate. So
I
what
would
the
agree.
the question is,
No, that's the question. We've answered it.
where? Oh,
That's it.
so when you feel like it's inappropriate, it's inappropriate.
That is correct.
Oh, okay, I guess.
Because your age and my age and your age, Kevin, we've been around enough. We've been around enough places long enough to know when it's appropriate. And the reason that the shots were inappropriate for where they were is because A, it was loud barroom style behavior when people are trying to have a quiet, romantic Valentine's dinner in the middle of the dining room,
Yeah.
which is already on an overcrowded, overpopulated restaurant for the night. That's why it's inappropriate.
Maybe it's like if you're gonna go somewhere and have a cocktail, that's
Yeah.
not a place to do a shot. If
Right.
you're going somewhere to have a drink,
Yes.
it's
If you're
different
going to have-
terminology.
That's
That's
different.
fair, but if you're, I'm just saying, if you were sitting and having a cocktail in the hotel bar and you were traveling, and you didn't have anything until 3-4 p.m. the next day,
Oh,
and a
someone
guy
else, huh?
sat next to you
Shot,
said, "Let's
shot,
try this
shot,
bourbon,"
shot,
and you get into conversation with him and he orders it and it shows up, you're drinking.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I wouldn't have been really all that.
You wouldn't have
opposed at
ordered
Ruth
it.
Chris either. Like I've been.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been what?
I've been all right with it. Someone bought me a shot.
I think
At
you
Ruth's
would,
Chris?
but I know you. I was okay with it. Nobody ordered me the shot, to be fair.
Right.
But
That's
I know
travesty.
you enough to know that you would have picked up on why we would have been a little uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to be. It's not
the-
Roadhouse. I mean, it's not,
But that's kind of, it was loud. It was a loud interaction, and it was, everybody knew that we were going to do
Everyone
shots.
was kind of looking.
Let's do shots!
it'd be
Like
a
that
little
is
weird.
loud. Everyone now knows
Yeah.
that you're doing shots in a loud girl
Yeah.
voice. And
it's
now
weird if you're out on like a Valentine's Day dinner at a nice, I'm gonna say fancy place. That's a fancy.
It's a
dollar
fancy place, I feel like. Yeah.
And-
that particular one was,
Yeah, like that's a little weird, but also to me, like again, never been to that town.
Right.
I kind of expect it in places like that. Maybe not in that season,
interesting.
but but again, I've never been.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to Vegas, maybe either.
Yeah.
But I've been
All right.
to the town we live in, and I would take a shot at Ruth Chris
I would take a shot pretty much
anywhere,
anywhere
anytime,
if I was having a good time.
after the hours of 9.
I will not take a shot at a child's birthday party.
Oh dear.
I've done that before.
I
You've
take a
done
shot
it
at a
before, so
child's
you
birthday
would do it then because you've done it.
No, I would not take a shot at my child's birthday party.
That makes sense.
You would in another job.
I would not take a shot. Yes, I would. I would take a shot at a child's birthday party. I have. It's not that I wanted to. It's that somebody was showing me around. They're like, "Look at my tequila collection," and I was
Oh,
like,
you're
"Oh,
like,
cool!"
I'll have some
Like
of
as a
that.
dad showing it off. So of course, he's like this. He wants to impress. So he's just like $800 bottle of whatever,
Oh, wow.
whatever. Because I'm not going to remember it. And he pours it, and it just tastes like pineapple. It was great. And I get downstairs,
Wow.
and it's present time all of a sudden, and all of us are just like, I'll play with that. It's like, like when you remember the wrestling buddies from WWF,
Oh,
those
yeah.
little like those.
Yeah.
We were all grabbing the pills like, oh, I'll play with that. Like
Yeah, it's
it
good.
was stupid. It was like, and I think you should leave now, skit. It's
Yeah.
like, you're not part of the turbo time. Like,
I think
get
you
off the
should
couch.
leave.
But you have one more question
I
or
do have
one more
another
topic,
question.
and I don't know what it is.
I do have another question.
because I don't remember it.
So this comes because I was just kind of thinking of things that I had done that I thought were going to be helpful for other people.
Like bargain wine.
Yeah, for instance, bargain wine.
Hi,
No,
I brought this Franzia. I hope that I'm throwing them right under the bus. You will. One thing on the
I will
exciting
never
one,
bring a
we will
Franzia.
never box this wine.
no.
Actually, I think if we are, if okay, I will
I
say
do not
this.
want to drink. I
Hold
don't
on.
want to drink
If
a
we-
boxed wine on this show or ever.
Hold on, the one
No.
caveat. If people care and watch the show, and we have an audience, for like some milestone, we should have a boxed wine of Franzia or something, and really give it the real.
If it's a
Turing test.
Moscato, fine. That's the only boxed wine that I could probably
We'll
tolerate.
cross that bridge about flavors when we come to it. We got a lot more episodes. to
I
do
don't like
until then.
Moscato either. So if it's a boxed wine, that's
You
the
do
only
like
one that I
Moscato.
could.
You're a liar.
Not really. It's
Really?
just so sweet.
very
That's
sweet.
why I have not.
It's
not bought a
cloying.
Moscato. It's cloying.
What now?
All right. So for instance,
What's that thing you said?
This thing that I was talking about.
Uh-huh.
So I had an incident with a vehicle that I thought was not working, and so I
course.
bought another vehicle,
This checks out. This
which
tracks.
was working. And then my first vehicle got fixed, and so I decided to go back to that vehicle since it was. I still owed money on it, honestly. So I was going to sell my
had two
second
cars?
vehicle. I did. I had two vehicles.
Most people in America have a
2-car Tom.
two-car Tom. Yeah.
They were both used vehicles, all right, and so they were not like super expensive.
Kaylin's
So
Emporium.
I was going to sell the second vehicle when I found out that a friend of mine was in dire need of a vehicle. And so she inquired like how much I was going to ask for it, and I told her, and she's like, if I give you $200 more for it, would you sell it to me like on a payment plan? And I was like, you know what? I trust you. I feel like that would be fine. I'm not going to charge you interest either because you're going to give me another.
deal with a friend
I
for a
did.
car?
I did.
That's a no-no.
No. But here, it
no.
worked out great in my favor.
Yeah, okay.
It's
this
fine
time.
for me.
Go ahead.
So I sold her the vehicle, and she was going to pay me like, I don't know, $200 a month or something like that for however long it was. I think it was over a year. And so, I mean, it wasn't a great in shape vehicle, but
Okay.
it was
So this
running.
is an old car.
It's an old car.
You got to say, how much are you selling this car for?
I think I was going to sell it for like $1,800.
Okay, so this is a cheap
and
car.
I think she paid.
Yeah.
I think she actually gave me like $2,200 is what she wanted to
So-
pay for it, and I was like, you know what, sure, whatever. And she gave me a certain amount up front, and then was gonna make
So you
payments
were
of
going to make
$200 a month.
$200 over what you paid or more?
I think it was like $400 over.
Okay, so you're
But
making money on the deal.
I was making money on the deal. I wasn't gonna, charge any interest apart from
Yeah.
that. I didn't even want to charge her interest anyway. I was like, I just want $1,800, and she's like, no, because I'm paying you in payments. Like, I want you to know. And she paid me a payment up front, like a larger payment, and then was paying it off.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of her payments, the car died.
Yep. I saw where this was going.
Died. And she did not stop making her payments. She kept making them. And I just felt so bad. And I'm like, just pay me the rest of the $1,800, like what I wanted for the car. And anyway,
How much short was she
like $800.
when the car died?
Yes.
So the question here is, have you ever done something for someone to be helpful and then it backfires?
And it backfired and turned out like that it was not helpful. And I just felt like I had taken advantage of her. But
How did the story end?
So she ended up paying me the full amount, and because she's like, no, we made an agreement, and I'm going to stick to that agreement. She's a very like solid
Yeah,
person.
I mean,
She's a
to
trustworthy
start,
person.
that-
Yeah.
But leaving that aside, leaving her integrity aside, which clearly she has.
She
so
has,
that's good.
yes.
But how does this backfire on you?
It didn't backfire on me.
Buying
it was
a
just how
used
did it
vehicle is a
backfire?
risk.
How did it backfire?
It would backfire on you
Meaning
if you
how?
didn't get your money.
No, the question is not how did it backfire on me. It's how did it backfire? How did I? Have you ever done something thinking that you're going to help someone, and it did not help them, or it did not turn out? It backfired.
How long did she have the car for where it did work?
Less than a year.
So you did help her.
Yeah, but
So
she
I
had to
assume
pay
that- well,
for
I
it
assume
after
obviously
the
that
time and
she-
didn't have a vehicle
Okay, but
while
let's put
she
it on
was
the
paying
table.
me $200
Yeah,
a
but
month.
hold on. Let's put it on the table. Let's put a couple things out there as understanding of this story. A person who's buying a used vehicle from a friend and asks that friend, because I don't have the cash up front, will you basically hold this loan in trust, but give me use of the vehicle, and then I will pay it off while I'm driving it?
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand, when we buy this bottle of wine, this is the part I think about why this story doesn't qualify for what you're saying.
Why?
here. When you buy this bottle of wine, be it $40, $50 in a restaurant, or $10 or $15 or $20 at the store.
$30 at the store.
Okay, now it's $30.
Well, it was on sale from $35 to like $25.
I'm just saying, we've already given the caveat about
Yeah.
what we pay for wines here. I'm saying whatever the amount is, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You pay for it at the store. You don't get to leave the store and go, I'm going to drink this, but make payments on this until next year, if that's cool, because I can't afford it all at once.
Yeah, you do if you put it on a credit card.
Yes, but that's a credit card, which is an agreement between you and a financial institution at an interest rate level and time period that you set to pay that back, regardless of whether you enjoy the experience or the experience ends with you paying for something that dies. And here's the point. I think that nothing that you did backfired, except for the fact that you injected your own guilt about the situation because this person was a friend. And this is why I said at the top of your point, do not do business with friends. If you want to stay friends with a friend, don't do business with a friend unless you're going into business together. And if you're going into business together, just understand that friendship could change and could change dramatically.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, you, and Kevin is right, you didn't not help her. You allowed her to have a payment plan on a vehicle. I assume somebody buying a vehicle for that price and without being able to pay $1,800 down is because they don't have it. Which means they can't walk into a dealership and put money down on a new car or a new used car
Right,
financed
which is why
through any
I thought
other
I
means.
was helping her.
But you are helping her. You gave her access to a car, even if it died. The point is, it didn't backfire. It only backfired because you felt bad for collecting the money that you agreed on at the sale of the car. If you agreed to pay $30 or $50 or $75 for this wine and you drank it and it tastes like crap, you can't go back to the store and be like, this tasted like crap, I want my money back. I mean, people try, but that's just not how it works. Not if it's open,
let's say
actually.
you didn't have a car, but you had $1,800.
Yeah.
And there is a car that your friend wants to buy for $1,800, and you loaned her the money in the same manner that you did this way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that car died. Would you still feel guilty?
Not your car.
It's not your car.
Like, I would still want my money back.
Yeah.
Well, the point is, if you loan somebody $1,800 for anything, and let's say it turned out to be a car and the car died, would you relax and feel bad like you did about collecting the money for that car?
Yeah, I would.
You would still feel bad about it.
Yeah, I would feel bad because it didn't work out.
Yeah, but
so that's not helping somebody gone bad. You just
could
have
feel
guilt.
bad for your friend that the car died.
You feel bad for your friends
No, I would
when it
feel
doesn't
bad
work out for them.
collecting for the car when the car died, even if it wasn't my car, and I gave
It's
her
not weird.
money.
What she is doing is she's empathetically suffering for her friends, and she's willing to suffer financially along with them because she feels that she's in a better position because it's not affecting her. It's just money she's collecting.
It would have definitely affected me. It was in a time when I definitely needed money and didn't have a ton. But like at the same time, like I was willing to write it off and like struggle.
I don't think that qualifies as helping somebody gone backfire or your question.
No, I think your favor was the loan.
You've heard this story. When I was in my early 20s, I had an apartment here, and I was driving home, and I pulled into my apartment, and outside my apartment was a guy. And he was grasping at his junk.
What?
And he was jumping around, and he was like, man, I just really got to use the bathroom, and I got to poop, and I haven't showered. And I could tell that he'd been living outside, you know, and he looked rough. And I was like, I go, dude, you know me, and like I'm from the city. Like I was like, and Grand Rapids is not where I'm from. So I knew about stuff. Like I wasn't stupid. I was like, I'll tell you what. I was just feeling nice. I'd had a good night. I must have gone on a first date with somebody. It went okay. I guess it didn't in the end. Doesn't matter. But I come home. I remember feeling all right. This dude is like standing outside the apartment building asking to use the toilet. And I was like, you know what? You can come up and use the toilet. And he's like, can I take a shower? And I was like, you can take a shower. So I was going to let him take a shower. I was going to let him use the toilet. And he didn't want to go to the bathroom outside anymore. He said, because it felt like an animal. And that resonated with me for whatever reason. I let him come upstairs, and I'm living in a one-bedroom apartment at this time. So I've got a little kitchen with my computer in it, and a little living room, and a bedroom, and a tiny bathroom right up that. It sounds big, but the whole thing was maybe 450 square feet. It was tiny. I hear this rustling from the bathroom. So the toilet flushes about 7 times, and then the shower kicks on, and then I just hear all my cupboards in there.
Just looking for drugs?
I didn't know what I was listening
Prescriptions.
to. He finally finishes up, and he comes out and honestly, it was ridiculous. It was like he came out in a cloud of steam from the shower, so he looked like a rock god. He was like, ah, but he comes emerging from the bathroom, and he'd had sweatpants on with a jacket on, and he walked out, and I hadn't noticed it at first, but he looked like he was walking funny. But I thought, oh man, he's been sleeping outside or whatever. I was gonna offer him like a Coke or something, or a drink, or a cup of coffee or something, maybe before he headed back out because it was winter. And I went over to, and I noticed he left the bathroom light on, and me was leaving lights on. So I walk over to turn the bathroom light up. I look over, and my damn vanity is cleaned out. I mean, I had cologne in there, a toothbrush, the electric toothbrush, gone, all of it, nothing. And it's all left open. Like had I just walked up, anyone could totally see that all of their shit is gone out of the bathroom. Conditioner, shampoo, my soap. I mean, the toilet paper. I look over at this dude. Because it was a tiny apartment, I just look over him. He hasn't gone out yet. I look over at him, and he's standing there, and he's got all this stuff in his sweatpants. I mean, all my shit is in his pants.
Yeah.
Full, just loaded up. And now I already realize what it was. He's like Jacob Marley as he walked by me, like Christmas of Ghost. Cha-ching, cha-ching, And I just look at him, and I was just like, dude, I was letting you use the toilet to be nice, how are you going to come up here and steal all my shit? And he comes over, he's got this little paring knife. You know the story. You've heard the story before. Kevin's heard the story before. I don't think you have. And he comes over and he points this little knife at me, this little freaking cheap kitchen knife, but it was sharp. I mean, it was a pointed edge, and it right up against like my chest, right here. Puts it right here, which might have not worked out for that.
Yeah, you could have just gone. Poof.
Well, anyway, listen to the story. And he says he's going to go over and take my home phone. You can see I got a little corded phone. I'll just tell you what year this was. I had no cell phone at the time.
Back in the day.
He's going to call his buddies, and they're coming up, and they're going to take my computer, and they're going to take my microwave, and they're going to take all this stuff out. And if I move, he'll stab me because he doesn't give a shit, and he's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. So I went over to grab the phone, and next to the phone is this black Maglite I used to have.
A what?
A Maglite, a flashlight. Like a cop flashlight.
Yeah.
I didn't buy this thing. Somebody left it in my car one night. I think I gave some people a ride back or something, and it got left in my car. Anyway, it was a cool flashlight, and and the batteries were dead. So I don't know if they were just carrying it around as a weapon because it was beefy. Mm-hmm. And I put new batteries in it, and I just had it. Just in case because the power goes out all the time. Especially when you live in an apartment, power's out. We were living by candles sometimes. So I'd had it next to where the phone was. And I reach over to grab the phone, and I see the Maglite sitting there, and I'm like, I make a decision real quick. I can hit this dude with this Maglite, or I can give him the phone and be robbed. Mm-hmm. What do you think I chose?
I think you smacked him.
I hit the shit out of this guy with this thing. I grabbed that Maglite. I grabbed that Maglite. I came over. I caught him right here.
Whoa.
Bam! And I knock him down to the ground, and he drops the knife, and
you pulled his pants? You got all your shit?
He pulls his pants up because as I knock him down, he immediately gets up and turns around, and he runs for the door. And I'm yelling. I go, give me my shit. And I grab the back of his pants, and his crap is falling out.
Oh, my gosh.
My stuff is falling out as he's ready. He runs down the hall with his pants around his ankles, and he gets outside. And I'm chasing him because I got this electric razor, brand new electric razor. Back in the day, you get a Braun. I got it for Christmas, and I really loved it because I was before having to shave every day with a straight razor and Barbasol before work, you know. This is half
I still
of one
use
day.
Barbasol. I think it works the best.
Well, on female legs it might, but in my case, I get out there to chase this guy down because I want my razor. It's all I want. I don't want to press charges. I just want my stuff back. He has a bike next to the apartments, and he's riding away down the road. It has no tires on it. It's just the metal rims.
So you're just chasing him.
He's like, ee. I run next to him and tackle him. And I go, I'm not going to call the cops. I just want my razor. But as soon as I tackle him, the police go, brr, brr. And my neighbor, I was friendly with this girl who lived next door, and she heard the whole thing through the wall because we paper mache walls.
Yeah.
And she had called the cops and said, I heard a ruckus. And the cops were coming, but they saw me tackle this guy. And then, so they arrested him, and I took him downtown, and then they asked, do you want to press charges? And I got my razor back, and I said no. I didn't press charges on him. Because I beat this guy with a flashlight pretty bad. And all I was going to do is let him take a shower and a poop. And I was having a good night. And it turns into me sitting there with officers until 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I got to go to work the next day. So that's, I think, help backfiring.
Yeah.
You know, I try to do a good because if I just walked by this dude and just gone upstairs and fired up my PS1 and played Final Fantasy VII, I would never have this interaction. You know what I'm saying? I would have poured myself a whiskey sour on a Thursday night, and this would have been a footnote in history. Yeah. It's probably the night I beat the game. Instead, he stepped on my PS1 during this when I hit him, and he broke it. And I fixed it, and that's why I got the mod one that you now have. I gave it to Kevin. Mm-hmm. I got a modded one, which is pretty
cool. What about, I have another story then.
You can't, Kevin. Do you have one
fine.
where you can't just you've given an example of the car. We have all agreed and debunked that as you shouldn't feel guilty. You just feel bad because it's your friend. This story
just makes me feel bad because I can't think of now am I unhelpful? Because I don't have a story.
I got another story.
Listen, if you've helped people and it's never gone bad for you, then you've lived a very good life.
I'm sure, but I don't look at it as a backfire.
I don't think that it backfired on me from the sense of wanting to help someone and feeling. The only reason I say it backfired is because the person then used the situation to do bad will on top of my goodwill.
Yeah.
You know, and that
that's
made me feel
bad. That's a bad.
It wasn't like I was wealthy, honestly. I mean, I had a 286 upstairs with a 56K modem at the time, And the best thing I had was a nice Sony CRT that I'd gotten from work, and my boss at the time let me take it home.
What's a CRT?
That's a computer monitor.
Oh, right.
But I mean, when 21 inch at the time.
Tube style.
21 inch. Oh.
I mean, this sucker
It dates
was
the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was 2000, 99, 2000.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, when I wore a younger man's clothes.
When I wore a younger
I don't feel
man's
bad, though,
clothes.
about hitting him. I felt bad about tackling him off the bike later. And the reason was because it's in my mind's eye later now, it was such a pathetic scene, him trying to get away. Me tackling him to get my razor back, and my anger sort of in the moment.
Yeah.
I think or adrenaline or whatever. I want to catch the robber or whatever.
Yeah, you got to get your stuff.
But it would have been, like when I watch shows, I want people to get away with things,
If they're the protagonist?
Well,
or
like
if
an
they're the
anti-hero.
robber?
I cheer sometimes for an anti-hero or somebody to get away. And I think to myself, when I think about this story even now, the only reason that he was arrested was because obviously the volume and my relationship with the neighbor, but also because I tackled him. Had I not tackled him off the bike, the cops would have gone right by him. I don't know. I hope he turned his life around or whatever. He wasn't that old. He wasn't young, but he was older than me. But I mean, I hope he figured it out. But
yeah.
And I'm glad that you didn't ever have an instance where this happened to you. No. Because that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really. Nothing that would be worth sharing. I could think of. Yeah.
I've had a strange life with a lot of strange occurrences.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is sometimes you think that it makes you think twice about doing the right thing, just because every time maybe you've tried to do the right thing, the wrong thing has happened to you. And I would say to think about that as a person, because just because the wrong thing has happened, like, isn't really grounds to continue or to shut yourself off. Like in a previous episode, we talked about, like, when do you give up as a person? And I think that's part of it. When you decide that humanity is evil and everyone is evil and I'm not going to trust anyone and I'm not going to take any risks and I'm not going to leave anything outside, I'm going to have to lock everything up and have to password protect every little part of my life because I have no trust left in me because any human goodwill has just been burned out of me. That's no human existence anymore.
Right.
We're kind of at a crossroads, I think.
Yeah.
And this goes back to our technology discussion earlier, or our advancement discussion. At what point is it that we didn't know how to grow our own food anymore? And now we're at the point where, like, goodwill used to be giving someone a cold drink. You know what, though? That just made me think of something. There's a movie called The Green Mile, and we referenced it before. Where I think
I've seen it once. I don't remember enough of it other than, like,
investigator goes out to find out about what's his name, where the guy who was on death row, or they tell his story.
John Coffey and
it's where the crazy guy comes from, who murders the two girls.
The guy who actually murdered the two girls.
The one who. So the real story about when he tells the story about it, there's a Gary Sinise is in the movie who played Lieutenant Dan. I talked about him shooting a dog in one of the videos, but the point is that he let the guy come in under the auspice of Dust Bowl times. People would hire workers off the Wild Bill. Yeah, they hire people off the street, and you hire someone off the street like that because they need money to move on and they're trying to survive in the Dust Bowl times in the Great Depression, and he lets them on his property to work his fields, and he turns around and murders his two infant daughters. That is a story of helping someone in goodwill gone wrong. How far is it? How bad would it need to be for you to not extend your help anymore to someone?
Yeah. Like when I hit the man on a bike and...
You two have lived a strange and storied life, and that is not helping someone unless you're talking about helping someone up from hitting them with your car.
Yeah, I did. Okay,
that's not...
No, but this is different. So when I hit the man on a bike, it was nighttime. I was coming up to an intersection.
It was Pee-wee.
And it's like this, where you're angled
26.
this way, but you have to turn right. It's like a severe right. And there's cars coming, and it's dark, and all you can see is the lights coming this way, and some lights coming this way, but mostly lights coming this way. And so I don't see anything. It's coming out. And so I go to turn right.
Do you hear all these lights
all
are
of
coming
a sudden, all
turning
of a sudden,
right in a nightclub?
yeah. It's like the system is down. So then all of a sudden I'm turning right. I go to turn right, and then there's a man on my windshield, and I was like, "What the hell? What is this?" And the man's like, "Oh, you."
This is also how men wake up. She wakes up with men in her bed as well. Like, I just got careened into the parking lot, and I woke up and there's a man in my bed.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that one.
Exciting.
I don't know about that. It is
you hit
exciting.
the man on the bike.
So I hit the man on the bike. I get out of the car. I'm like, I literally didn't see you. Like, you're wearing all black. Your bike is
What
black.
were you wearing?
I can't recall.
Try.
Sweatpants, maybe? I don't know. I was coming home from college.
What's on top? Just like a baggy t-shirt?
Probably sweatshirt. It was like cold.
Flip-flops or no?
No, like shoes.
What kind of shoes?
Tennis shoes.
Did you
probably
intentionally hit the man?
Meyer brand, like MCA Pro or whatever. MTA Pro. Yeah. Meyer Thrifty Acres Pro.
If three
tennis
things are blue,
shoes.
but one of them is orange, are two things blue and one thing is orange, or are three things blue? True or false?
You said three things were blue and one thing was orange, so that there are going to be three things blue. So I hit the man.
All right, so you'll pass.
I get out of the
We
car.
can try you as an adult.
I get out of the car, and he's like, "You hit me and broke my light." And I'm like, "Sir, you have no light. That's why I hit you. You didn't exist. You were wearing all black on a black bike, and you just into my car." And he's like, "You broke my light."
He didn't have any reflector gear on at all. What a face.
No. So my car was very small, and he's like, "Do you think you could give me a ride back to my home, because my bike is broken now?" I had bonked.
Did you offer to sell him this car for $1,800?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So fortunately, I was
and then
within,
he didn't pay back, and then it backfired, and that's what happened.
I was within like 5 minutes drive
backfired
to
when it wasn't a
my parents' house. So I called my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, please come and help and bring the station wagon, because I need to get this man's bike to his home."
You grew up in the Griswold family?
Yeah, we had a Woody and everything.
You had a Woody?
At one point.
Whoa.
Yeah. This was not that vehicle though. We've had like 4 station
an
wagons.
87 Caprice that smelled like cigarettes.
Yeah, we did, but it didn't smell like cigarettes because we wouldn't have bought it otherwise.
So you're waiting for your mom.
So I'm waiting for my mom, and it was like cold out, and it was awkward and whatever. So anyway, she picks up the guy. She's upset. I was like, "Also, can you bring $20 to replace his light, because apparently I broke his light."
He was checked like by medical or like a.
No, he said he was fine.
You brought him?
So mom brought $20 to pay him so he could get a new light, and I was like, "Mom, honestly, like, I don't know if I broke his light or if his light was already broken and he's just trying to get a new light, but whatever." Like, I mean,
you're lucky.
Like, we can pay $20, and yeah, he's gonna sue me. And my mom's like, $20 is fine. And so $20 to get the new light. She drives him home, and he was hacking up along the whole time. So then for the next like 2 weeks, my mom is sick. Because she gave this man already, because he had the flu or something. Sick. Yeah,
maybe that's why he rode on the road.
So she had the flu for like 2 weeks.
He was ill in the first place, and he shouldn't have been riding.
So
I hit
trying
someone
to make
on a bike,
something
and
right.
it did not go that way for me.
No,
Kevin also knows that story. Yeah, it's fine.
Have you hit someone on a bike?
I've actually never been in an automobile accident.
What?
I've had people hit my car when it's parked.
Kevin, I feel like your life
Kevin's
is much
car,
different than
I know
ours.
this for a fact. At least in this period of time where Kevin and I first became friends, I believe Kevin's cars were broken into like a total of 4 or 5
Yeah,
times.
I've had lots of theft and vandalism.
He's had his car broken
homeless
into,
people
and
living in a van.
Wow.
Like, I've
Kevin
had
has had more cash in his car stolen.
Wow. Why
And
do
he
you
keeps
keep
putting
cash in your car?
He keeps doing it. And he's had more.
There might be cash in my car.
He's had computers, cash, and guitars stolen out of his car multiple times, not just once. Multiple times this has happened to him.
I've never kept cash in my car, but only because I was told upon buying all of my crap vehicles that they were the number one vehicle to steal at that time.
We took $50 and we put it in change because we were going through the tolls on that road trip.
Yeah, so like $50 in 1s and 5s.
But it was 1s and 5s and 10s, right? And we just left it in the center console. When we come out in the morning, I got the sunroof, like I got a moonroof that shines the sun down, and then all the window. No tint on my car, of course.
Like an angel light.
Just shining down on all this cash. I go, girl, we should have tucked that cash away. Like it looks.
And I was like, yeah, that's what I said
inviting
last
someone
night.
just to go like this, smash the window,
right?
Take the cash. Who cares? I mean, it's an easy grab. You could smash a window and grab cash on the alarm would be going off. By the time someone came to do anything about it, you could be on.
You have a smashed window and no cash.
20 minutes away.
How inconvenient.
But yeah, I've never hit a man on a bike.
I don't see how that still is you helping someone that goes backwards. That's just you helping someone to the hood of your car and to free $20.
So, I mean, so I did start that off by hitting the man, so that was not great. But honestly, I had barely begun to move. So I hit him at like 1 mile an hour, and he was already on the front of my car. He's like, hey, like he didn't get hurt, but his bike got like slightly bent.
You're like Michael Scott in The Office where he hits Meredith with his car and then they find out she has rabies.
Curse
is broken.
Curse is broken. Exactly.
Like that's your life. Like,
I think that there is some truth to you being characterally written. It seems almost sometimes.
I know. I know
NPCs.
that I am not the main character. I am the supporting actress.
The bottle is empty, and that's going to do it for this edition of the Exciting Whites podcast. I want to thank my co-hosts Kevin and Kaylin for making it exciting as usual. If you're going to do a good deed for someone and it backfired, let us know in the comments. How was that, and what did it do for you? We might talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you think that human history has exploded in the last 124, 150 years for no reason? Do you have a theory? Let us know what that is. And also, when is it inappropriate to do shots? Is it appropriate to do shots all the time and we're just too uptight and so is the rest of the world? Or are shots inappropriate except in a bar? We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, all that being said.
Also, make sure that if you like these videos to subscribe so that we know what we're doing right.
Our first
Make sure to like it also. It really does help us out about knowing about things. Please please subscribe so that you get to see all of our videos once a week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hit the
guys.
notification bell.
Notification bell.
Thank you guys so much for keeping it exciting. And have a good one. Take care.